Alright folks, so what we have here is my 100 sub special. I basically took the two teams from the Pokemon Yellow run and the Pokemon Crystal run, and I'm here battling MTGXerxes here. So he's on the other side, he's using the Yellow team, I'm using the Crystal team, and this is basically my first narrated Wi-Fi battle. So on this first turn here, I have an option of setting up Stealth Rocks. He's probably going to set up his rocks, but fearing the taunt, I decided to knock off first. Just to get rid of his item and go from there. Basically here, since he didn't taunt that turn, I'm assuming he's either doesn't have it or he's probably going to do something else. So right now I'm going to take the time here to set up my own rocks, and hopefully that I'm probably going to get a free turn. He's not going to kill me, and if he does taunt, then that's perfectly fine. I'll find another time to bring him in. Either way, he brings in a Gengar, and the thing I'm most fearful of right now is sub. On his end, of course, though, he's probably fearing the Encore, but I don't have Encore with this Shuckle set. The whole thing about this team is I wanted to use like little gimmicky, little unique sets or whatever. And so him not seeing Encore right there basically baits him into realizing that he's probably safe to set up sub. And there you go, you see me use Gastro Acid just for fun or whatever. Unfortunately, though, I let him set up the sub, and the only way that I can really get out of this situation is to try and break the sub and switch something out and deal with it that way. Otherwise, I'm in really big trouble against this Gengar. Nothing on my team wants to switch into a Shadow Ball or a Thunderbolt or anything in that sense that Gengar can just toss at me. So I basically have to sit in here with Shuckle and whittle away at this substitute with knockoff. Like not only does Shuckle have really poor attack, but knockoff's doing barely anything, and it's not even breaking the sub. I think it's going to take me at least 5 hits before I even break the sub. And luckily for me, Shuckle does have rest, so that gives me the opportunity to gain back my health here over this period of time. I know it's probably a little boring for you guys, but it's just something I had to do in the battle in order to get some of the momentum back on my side. Letting that Gengar set up that sub was just probably the worst thing I could have done in this battle. But that's how it went down, and luckily for me, Xerxes has pretty terrible luck with getting drops or hacks or anything, and he's going to use about 8 or 9 Shadow Balls over the course of this little stall fest, I guess, and he's not going to get a single drop, he's not going to get a crit, and luckily Shuckle is able to break the sub and survive with a little bit of HP, and that gives me a chance to at least save Shuckle for fodder later. So as you can see, Shuckle, he's not getting special defense drops, and Shuckle wakes up, and I think this is the turn where I finally break the sub. Nope, not. It's going to be next turn. Either way, Shuckle's a boss. He's got some pretty serious defense to be able to take all of this and just sit in here all day, do whatever he wants. But the thing is, this Shuckle doesn't really accomplish much. Basically, he's there to set up rocks and fool around with Gastro Acid and whatnot. Get rid of items. The reason I lead off with him is just to try and maybe cripple a lead if it depends on its ability, if it depends on its item, things like that. And the good thing is, Knockoff at least got rid of the Pitaya Berry that was sitting on this Gengar, so that was definitely a plus. Either way, now that the sub is broken, it gives me a chance to at least switch into something that can probably handle this Gengar a little bit better. I decided to go into Suicune just because it has probably it has decent special bulk, and that'll give me the chance to at least take a hit from this Gengar, even if it is going to be a powerful Thunderbolt, which, as you can see, he fires it off one there. And here I kind of make a misplay. I figured Suicune would probably take it a little bit better, but unfortunately, it does just over half, I think, not accounting for Stealth Rocks there. And so I set up a sub, even though Ice Beam probably would have been better, and it probably would have saved my Suicune at least a little bit. This Suicune doesn't have rest, however, so I probably would have died in the long run. But the thing is, losing Suicune here definitely hurts. So instead of having Suicune survive with just a little bit of hit points, I basically have to sacrifice Suicune to get rid of the sub on Gengar in order to bring in a free switch in when Suicune dies here. But this turn is very interesting in the sense that he can either set up a sub, predicting me to switch, or just flat out kill me. I decided to stay in just on the off chance that he does sub, and just so that I could try and kill the sub and deal with it that way, slowly whittle down Gengar. But he makes a smart play, he kills me off, and I basically have to sacrifice my Suicune to kill a sub for a Gengar. So it really sucks, but that's how it went down. Nevertheless, I'm free to bring in Espeon here, and he's probably fearing that I'm faster. I'm pretty sure I'm faster. I am timid, and even though I'm not Scarfed, I think I do have enough speed invested to the point where I should be able to outspeed this Gengar, even though we have this equal base speed. At this point, though, I'm definitely going to want to fire off a Psychic because I want to get rid of this Gengar. The sooner this Gengar goes down, the easier it is for me. And really, I don't want anything else to come in. Well, if I can take rid of that Gengar, it's going to get rid of a real big threat for my team. He's going to switch into Nidoking, obviously, as fodder, because he wants to try and figure out what set my Espeon is. He now sees leftovers, so that probably clues into him to the fact that I'm definitely not Scarfed now, and that probably makes things a little bit safer for him. He brings in Zapdos, though, and that's something my Espeon can definitely not handle. My Espeon is a little bit of a weird set. It's got Psychic, Future Sight, Wish, and Reflect, and basically it's meant to be a little bit faster, set up a Reflect, set up a Wish where needed. It's like a mix between support and offense, and the whole thing about Future Sight is that it actually hits Dark types, so it gives me a bit of coverage, and in some cases it can give me 2 different attacks. So there I set up a Future Sight, and however, unfortunately for me, I take a T-Wave. Switching into Nidoking there probably would have been the better play, but nevertheless, I do have, at least Espeon has synchronized to the point where Zapdos itself gets paralyzed, so getting Espeon paralyzed kind of hurts, but in the long run it's not too terrible for me. Nevertheless, he's free to roost there, and I get paralyzed on the turn that he roosts, so I don't get to fire off my Psychic, and that kind of hurts. So this play, no, I think this is the play where I get paralyzed. I did set up the Future Sight last turn, on the turn where he roosted. So he's going to T-Bolt here while I get paralyzed, and here's where the Future Sight comes in, and Zapdos is going to take some damage, and I get at least an idea of how much Future Sight was going to do to it. So at this point here, I basically know he's probably not going to root. Well, he's either going to roost or he's going to attack with T-Bolt. He's probably not going to use Hidden Power because I just wasn't really fearing it as much. So I switch into Nidoking, get in a safe switch as he roosts for about 1/4 of his health. And this next turn was really, it took a long time for him to make a move. But as far as I was concerned, I was just going to fire off a Choice Banded Head Smash, whatever came in. Luckily for me, that was Gengar, and that got rid of a huge threat for my team. However, right here, he decides to bring in Blastoise, and I know that Nidoking's heads, even though it's Choice Band, and it is a pretty powerful Head Smash, it's not going to do enough to Blastoise to one-hit KO it, or just get rid of it here. So I'm forced to switch out to Fodder. At this point, Shuckle has already done his job. He's got up Stealth Rocks, so I'm just going to sacrifice it and get in a safe switch to Raichu. So I think at this point he told me that he completely forgot about Ranko, the Raichu, and essentially Raichu has really threatens his team from this point. He's got Blastoise, and he's got Charizard, and he's got Zapdos and a Raichu of his own left. So basically, from my perspective, I'm going to fire off a Volt Tackle at anything that wants to come in. Clearly, Raichu is probably his best option. Everything else is going to take a lot more. I don't know if Zapdos... Well, Zapdos probably would have taken it as well. It's neutral to it. But as you can see, Raichu resists it, and it even takes more than half right here. So it's going to be a clean 2-hit KO, so I'm going to go for it. My Raichu is Scarfed, so I know that I'm probably going to outspeed it. Unless he's Scarfed as well, then whatever, he's probably not going to kill me either. But I'm definitely going to take it out at this point regardless, unless he's Scarfed with Earthquake. But I'm not. At this point, I wasn't really fearing that. I was just going to, because I was already Scarfed, I was just going to go for it and see what happens. So he fires off a quick attack, and he already told me that was choice banded, so that's pretty powerful, and if he got a crit there, it definitely would have killed me. But nevertheless, Raichu takes out the opposing Raichu. I guess that's the law firm from the yellow perspective, and in comes in Gronkowski, who obviously is the next best thing to take this Volt Tackle. Now, the thing is here, I need Raichu alive in order to deal with Blastoise. And so, from my perspective here, I know that even if I fire a super powerful Volt Tackle at this thing, Raichu's going to die to whatever Zapdos fires at it, and then I have basically nothing left to deal with Zapdos, or deal with Blastoise. However, he makes the wise play and fires off a hidden power that nearly takes out my Nidoking, and that was really unfortunate. I would have much preferred to keep Nidoking a little bit more healthy so he could possibly fire a couple more attacks. However, at this point, Zapdos is paralyzed. I've got a CB head smash to fire at whatever I want, and from his perspective, I'm betting that he probably doesn't want to take a head smash on anything. If he switches, he's going to take it on Blastoise or Charizard, and neither of those two really wants to take it. It's probably going to be a 2-hit KO on Blastoise, and definitely a 1-hit KO on Charizard. So he decides to just sacrifice Zapdos, I guess, and it's a double down as Nidoking also gets killed off by the recoil, unfortunately. So from my perspective here, I couldn't use Raichu's Volt Tackle to take on Charizard. So if Charizard came in and I send out Raichu, it's probably game over anyways. So that's basically my perspective for bringing Espeon in here. Now, I do make a slight misplay here in the sense that if I just Psychic with Espeon, I'm probably going to be in a better position, but I was under the assumption that Volt Tackle from Raichu would probably do at least nearly KO this Blastoise, but that turns out not to be the case, as you'll see in a moment here. So instead of Psychicking, like I should right now, as he Rapid Spins, even though he could have just killed me off with Surf, he's setting up a Rapid Spin in order to get Charizard in easier. I instead set up a Wish, and now from my perspective, or at least my perspective, is he's probably thinking that I have Protect, as I haven't shown my 4th move. I don't have it, however. I have Reflect, and because of that, Espeon just flat out dies. The Wish goes to waste, and a Psychic definitely would have been a lot more helpful there, as that Blastoise is now sitting nearly at full health thanks to all its leftovers gained over those past 2 turns. So now I have to bring in Raichu. It survives the Stealth Rock hit, and I basically have to fire off a Volt Tackle. If he brings in Charizard, it's good game anyways. But I fire off a Volt Tackle, see how much it does, and unfortunately it does a lot less than I was hoping for. At that health, Blastoise is basically in a position where it can survive the next hit, and there's not much really I can do at this point. So I bring in MTGXerxes. At this point I have to rely on hacks. Instead of having Thunder Punch, I've got Quick Attack, and so I can't just easily deal with this Blastoise. My Typhlosion isn't Scarfed, it's a physical Typhlosion with Howl, Flare Blitz, Quick Attack, and Rock Slide. And even though Flare Blitz is a little bit more powerful, I assume that it probably wouldn't have even killed at this range for Blastoise. So I decide to go with Rock Slide eventually. Here I'm just like checking stats just to see how much attack I have, but I know it's probably not going to kill. So the only thing I can hope for is a crit or a flinch from Rock Slide. So go Rock Slide, go, doesn't kill, doesn't crit, doesn't flinch, and down goes Xerxes. So if I got the hacks there, probably would have been my game, but just didn't turn out that way. So definitely thanks to you guys. That's been my 100 sub special. So see you guys next time.